Hello everyone. Now we are going to go to chapter 8, tutorial 2. So we are going to use SolidWorks to create this part. So once again, it's chapter 7, tutorial 2, and this is our target part. And now let's get started. So the first step the tutorial told us is creating this part. And we are going to make this part. So let's go to SolidWorks and create a new part. In a new part, say OK. And take a look at the units. It's right as well. And go to Sketch. And I'm going to create on the front plane. So I select the front plane. And I go to make lines. So this is the origin. So I start here, make the shapes like this. Okay, and put the dimensions on. So here are all the dimensions if you want to take a look. It says from here to the center is 10. Half of that is 5, so the total is 10. So half of that is supposed to be 5. And from here to the center says it's 20, so half of that is 10. And from here to the center says it's, from here to the origin it says 42, so half of that is 21. And as you can see, it's got a little bit distorted. So I'm going to go out of a smarter dimension and drag them back in the good direction. Something like this. Okay. And something's still not right because we're not supposed to have that one there. Let's try the backwards. And put this one there. Yep, this is right. Okay, and keep going. So the height here says 2. I'm not in smarter dimension, so height here is 2. And height from here to the top is 11. And from the line here to the center or to the origin. So first of all, let me make a center line because we're going to revolve later anyway. Make center line here. So keep dimensioning from here to the origin to the center line is supposed to be 34. Divided by 2, it's 17. And from here to the center line is 20 because it's 30 of half of a 40. And the height from here to below is 3. And those two lines are supposed to be collinear. The relation, those two lines are supposed to be collinear. Say OK. And from here to the center line, so from this to the center line is supposed to be 6. And the height is supposed to be 1. Now everything is fully defined. They're all black. Looks good to me. So it's a good time to save the work and give a name, chapter 8, tutorial 2, and say OK. Okay, we have the sketch. Next thing, let's look what's going to be the next. Okay, so first of all, we need to revolve this part, and after that, we are going to create this feature from the bottom of the surface. So let's go ahead and revolve it first. Go to features and select the sketch to revolve. And automatically recognize which is right and say OK. And this is the part and save the work. Now let's flip to the bottom, create the feature at the bottom. And go to bottom view of the part. And look at the axis, looks right to me. And we're going to create this part at the top. So it has dimension 25 and 5 at the top. And let's go ahead and do a sketch. Click sketch and select the dust surface. And origin is showing up. And let's create a circle first with which is lined up with the inside. So let's see if we can recognize. If it doesn't, that's okay, and we're going to dimension it. And if we go back to the slide, so let's figure out the inner dimension. So it's actually here, it's 40. Okay, so 40 as the diameter. So we dimension this as the diameter 40. And it's fully defined. And let's draw another two lines, one here. Make sure the vertical dimension is showing up, and do another vertical line. From here to the top, make sure the vertical relations is showing up. Okay, I'm good. And now make a circle. So it's about here, and make a circle that is tangent to this part, and say OK. And now I am going to make this two to be tangent as well. Also this two, they're supposed to be tangent. It's not, but that's okay. I am going to manually add the relation, the arc, and the line, say they're tangent, say OK. And same thing, add relation. Select the line and the circle, say they are tangent, and say OK. Now we are going to dimension. So the circle, it says it's R5. So the radius is 5, so the diameter is 10. And also those two centers are supposed to be lined up. So the center and the origin supposed to be at the same line, so add relation, click those two, and say vertical, and say OK. And also we need to give a distance from here to the center. So on the drawing it says 25, so we dimension this two as 25. And now it's fully defined. And we are going to trim off this part and do trim. The last one is selected, and trim off those two parts and say OK. Now we are going to extrude this part, which is landed up until here. So let's take a look at the thickness one more time. So if we go back, so the thickness of that is going to be so this is the section view AA. So from A to here, it's AA. So have both the airs. So it's 3. It says, okay, 3. So the thickness is going to be 3. And this is a sketch, and it's underdefined. So we are going to save it. So it went away. So go to Features, Extruded, and select the part. And it's in the wrong direction. We're going to flip it over and give a distance says there are 3. And say OK. And this is the part. Now we need to do a circular pattern because we're supposed to have 3 of them. Okay. So before we do that, let's see if we need a holes. Yes, we do need a hose on top of that. Okay, so let's create the hose first. Use Hole Wizard. Before that, let's take a look at the dimension of the hole. So for the hose, it's actually counterboard. Okay, counterboard, and this is the top because this is bigger than the other one. So the bigger one is the top. So it's 3.6 for the smaller one, and the bigger one is 6.7. Okay, and it went down to 1.65. And in this case, since they write down the smaller one first, so they treated the smaller one at the top. So the height, this space, is going to be 1.65. Okay, so whatever at the top, they treated at the top. So this is 3.6, the small one. Bigger one is 6.7, and the height is 1.65. So let's go ahead and do that. So we select this part. Okay, so we use Hole Wizard. So Hole Wizard here, and do a counter bore. Okay, counter bore. And ANSI metric, since we don't know what the letters there, we don't know the size, so we just do show the custom sizing. Okay, custom sizing. And if the top, so actually it gives the big one and the small one. Then the small one, it says, small one says 3.6, and the big one is 6.7. So 3.6 for the small one, and 6.7 for the big one. And the depth there, so the depth is going to be the big one. Okay, is the depth, so like the picture size here. Okay, so we probably need to do some math because we are looking for the big one to give the small one. So the total is 3, like we said. So it's 3. So the height we are looking for is going to be 3 minus 1.65. Okay, 3 minus 1.65. So let's go back here. So it's going to be 3 minus 1.65. And the degree, we just leave it there. And up to the surface, let's do it blend. And go the position. So remember that we did the top as the big one. Okay, the big one at the top, like the picture. So we need to find whatever surface that is bigger as our surface. So take a look. So the bottom one is big. Okay, bottom one is big. So we select the bottom surface. So we select this surface and place the bore here, okay, and then we're going to dimension it, okay. So we need to give a distance from here to there, and the distance is actually says 25, okay, so we put a 25 there. Also, this two, they're supposed to be either horizontal or vertical depending on the direction. Since Z direction here, so I guess it's a vertical, so let's try out. Say the dimension and add a relation, those two as vertical, and say OK, and it's black, which is good, say OK. The hole is not what we're looking for, so the shape is wrong. So let's go ahead and edit that. And right click of the hole and take a look. The blind 0.5. Okay, so let's make it bigger. Yeah, this is probably right. Okay, this is probably right. So let's say OK. Then OK, we're in a good shape. So the bottom one is bigger and the top one is smaller. Yep, that's what we're looking for. And we save the work. And the next thing, we are going to do the circular pattern, duplicate this part. Okay, so we go to linear pattern, do circular, and select this part. Whoops, actually it's the wrong one. So the surface, I am going to select this part because I'm going to revolve with this part, based on this part. Okay, so in the direction, I select this part. Okay, and I give an equal spacing. So give us 3 of them. I need 3 of them. And the bore. Oh, this is not what I'm looking for. So I delete this and I select the whole part. Okay, the whole part here. Whoops, this is not what I want either. So delete that. And let's select this edge. Now it's recognized. Okay, I only selected this edge. It's recognized. And also I need the hole to be duplicated as well. As you can see, it does not have a hole. So I'm going to select the hole as well. Make sure you select the body instead of just the circle. Now everything there. Okay, everything's are there. And say OK. Now I get them duplicated and save the work. And let's look at the next step. Next one, we're going to create all those ribs. Okay, all those ribs, and we're going to create one and use a circular pattern for the rest of them. So let's go back and take a look at the rib. So it's supposed to be from here, go up. Okay, so let's go back and look at our sketch first. So let's take a look at all these plans, see where they are, see if we need to create a new plan. Well, the right one and the front one, they're probably both okay. Okay, so I select the front plan and it's in the middle, so I probably can make a sketch on that. So I go to sketch and I click a sketch on the front plan. And it's in the middle, which is good. And I am going to go ahead and create a line there. So I am going to make this line. Okay, make this line there. So that's the only line I need because this is a rib. I only need to create the contour and the rest of them will be picked up and being solid automatically. Okay, so I just need to make this line. See if it can recognize the plan It's supposed to be from the top point, which recognized, I think. Go all the way to this part, okay, and it's fully defined because that's the 2 points there. And let's save the work because it's a minus sign, so save the work first. Then let's click the sketch, check the sketch, and do a rip, see if it was success. So the rip, the thickness of it, so we probably want to select the middle one, okay, the middle one, and give a thickness. Let's go back and take a look. So it says 2 of the thickness, okay. So go back to SolidWorks and say it's 2. And look at the direction. It pointing to the inward, which is good. Say OK. And I got a rip there. Looks right to me. And now let's count the number of ribs. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 6 of them. And yeah, you would need to select the front plane because this is on the front plane. Okay, so we will double check afterwards. So the rib is supposed to be here. So on the front, on this rib, okay, horizontal one should be 2 below and 1 above. So let's check, see if our ribs are right. So looks right to me. The rib here has 2 below, 1 above. Okay, looks right to me. And now let's do a pattern. So do linear pattern, circular pattern again, and select the feature. Okay, feature is going to be this rib. And the direction, so it's going to be this circle again. So we'll select the body. And see the number is going to be 6 of them. Equal spacing, so equal spacing, and say OK. And I have the ribs. And after this is all we have. And we zoom to fit, and this is a good view, I think. And I can save the work and go ahead and turn it in. Alright, thanks for watching this tutorial. We'll see you next time. Bye.